This is Blair with the Taylor team. Today I've got Kristi Phillips here with Waco Title, and we're going to go over kind of the changes with COVID and how the closing process, what it looks like right now. First on the list is, Kristi, how are closings getting done? What does that look like?
Are still moving along like they have been. The difference with COVID now is that we have the options of closing curbside, which is up to your vehicle.
Okay.
And you can stay there. We bring pens out to you. We're in masks. And we have clipboards. Everything's marked up, highlighted in color, different signers for where they sign. And we just go through the pages and you sign there in your car.
Do you have, I know with us, like we kind of separate out, like our agents are not going to closings. Is that the case most of the time?
Most of the time, yeah. I would probably say 95% of the closings, the realtors are not coming, the lenders are not coming. It's just the buyer and the closer, or the seller and the closer.
That makes sense. Is that just limited exposure?
Yes,
same thing?
limiting exposure.
Okay, I gotcha. That makes sense. So what all do we need to have done, like, and ready for a closing? I'm speaking as if I'm, the seller.
The seller?
Yeah.
What you need to do for a seller standpoint is make sure that we have your information so that we can get your payoff ordered, making sure the house is ready for the walkthrough, if there's any repairs or anything like that, so that whenever the buyers, lenders clear to close, then we're all ready to get there to the table and sign all the documents as quickly as possible.
That makes sense. And I guess extending on that question, as far as a buyer, like, what do you see that they're kind of doing to themselves to extend their closings? Like, what are the things that they're not doing properly, or that they might better think of ahead of time to make sure their transaction happens on time?
I would say probably getting your documents to your loan officer that your loan officer is asking for. That could be bank statements, pay stubs. I'm not sure what all they ask for. Would be that, and then the other delay will be appraisal not happening in time to coming back. So
I've noticed that sometimes lately. We get them like a week before closing, sometimes 3 days before closing.
3 days before closing, appraisals are coming back. Yeah.
When that happens, we don't have a lot of control over that. But when it comes back 2 days before, we have to do redisclosures, or can they just
Depends on the lender, and it also depends on the appraisal. If it comes in fine, if your lender's already disclosed on that closing disclosure, then we're just slapping the rest of the numbers in that closing instructions into the closing disclosure to finish up and get finalized, to get that third to close. We're ready to sign.
That makes sense. And with lender required repairs, I know if it does come at the last minute, that's when you get a little bit of a pickle, because you got to get those done, get the appraiser back out for the reassessment for the final inspection. So that makes sense. So with refinances and purchases kind of going on right now, how does a person that is, like, as far as their closing date, how does a person that's selling something, like, do they have any preferential treatment versus refi as far as time and when it's closing?
No, we try to follow the contract as far as what that closing date is and meet that guideline. Of course, the lender's the one who controls that more than I do, due to the fact they're the ones bringing us the money. But as far as getting to the table, we do our best to get everyone, and if they want morning appointments or afternoon appointments, we've got Waco Title has multiple closers, so if I'm not available, I have someone else that I can back up and use to come in and actually do that closing for me, to get it done at the convenience of the buyer or the seller.
That makes sense, just because basically we've got such low rates. Everybody's trying to refi and do their sell buys and everything else at the same time. So do you hit the closing date, not based on you guys, but just see it from lenders? Are you hitting the closing date better on purchases or refinances?
Overall, I think the refinances, I think the lenders are pushing out that closing date to 45 or 60 days, and then we're moving it up to make sure that they have time for the appraisal and stuff. And as far as on contracts goes, I think it's probably a 50-50 shot on getting that closing date on that original contract. Most of them are closing on the contract date.
Which is an important thing to consider too, is just know, if we get down to that closing date, there is a chance it will need to be adjusted a little bit. That's not the goal. But if the lender causes a delay like that, we try to stay on them. But at the same time, we've got to work with them if they're the one that we find the funds. So, Kristi, thank you for talking to us today. And guys, hope this has kind of helped update you guys so you understand as far as the closing process and how that's changed kind of with COVID and the amount of transactions that we got coming through. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.